Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Loose Balls podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Chris, and I'm here with my co-host, Eli.
Oh yeah, back with another week of some riveting football power rankings, nonetheless. Here,
Absolutely. Power rankings this week because we're into preseason, not even into preseason. We're still in off-season.
yeah,
Uh,
big dip in the football news right now.
yeah, so
I
this is
think, I
based.
mean, I was gonna say we're getting so desperate for NFL stories. It's even being reported that Aaron Rodgers missed a day of mandatory training. That is some of the most riveting news we're getting out of the league right now.
Yeah, but just so you know, it's for an ayahuasca retreat. This man, on his
I mean,
last
it's
two ayahuasca,
unknown. It's
this last
unknown,
two
but
ayahuasca retreats were
but
MVP level season.
I think
So
all the talking heads have honestly something to talk about here, you know. I mean, it's not looking good, you know, coming after last season saying, you know, we need to work on our image, we need to pretty much go through a complete overhaul of what's going on behind the scenes there at at the Jets and to kind of kick it off with a less than impressive start here. I think it says a lot about the attitude that's going into this next season here. So who knows? That might have something to do with our power ranking here this week.
I don't think it does. I mean, it didn't change mine a whole lot that he didn't make that day.
Yeah, me
Uh,
neither.
the entire list that we're making here isn't necessarily who has the best team. It is the
Yeah.
team that is most likely to win the Super Bowl if the Super Bowl were played tomorrow.
Yep.
That being said, we're going to start with 32 and work our way forward
Yeah.
because I feel like that only makes it more interesting. We can take more time to talk about the better teams.
Yeah.
32 is a no-brainer. Coming in
Oh
at
yeah.
32 is the wonderful Carolina Panthers.
Yeah. Same on my list here. I mean,
Uh,
not enough can be said about how poorly this team is managed and owned. Truthfully, you know.
Sell the team, David Tepper. Like
Yeah.
whatever you
Sell
need
the
to do,
team.
sell the team.
Yep. Give
Time to
it to
move
someone
on.
else's hands. You know. You can only thing they're really good at doing is selling talent to other teams. You know, that's about all they do. I
You
was
made
even listening in on an interview with Chuba Hubbard recently, or Chuba Hubbard, and yeah, that's just the basic questions he wasn't able to answer just based on one, how the foundation of the team is doing is not exciting to hear, you know, especially from someone that is so senior on the team now, has such tenure, put up a record for the team, I want to say, last year, and has been only looking downhill. So get it together. Yeah.
but yeah, it's time to sell, time to move on. Like
Yeah. Big
I,
time.
I,
There's
I don't
good
know.
leadership on the team. Let them take the reins, you know?
Right, and it's another coach that's going to get fired through facts
Yes.
and faults that are not his own. This
I
is a
mean,
rebuild that's
do
been
they,
stuck in a rebuild.
yeah, do they find a new record of most coaches fired, you know,
I think they hold
consistently
it.
back to back? I'm sure they do hold it,
No,
but
they do hold it the most coaches in a 2-year span because they've had two
really,
coaches. Maybe it's a little bit longer, but since Ron Rivera, they've had pretty much two coaches a season
oh,
every
man.
season. So
Oh,
I I am not confident that this is going to be any better this year. The
yeah.
pieces might start to come together. They have another running back. They have some defensive pieces.
Hmm.
But even if they put up 21 points a game, they're still going to lose by 20 points. Like
Yep.
they don't have anything they need.
I know.
So that one was pretty easy. Let's get it out of the way.
Yeah,
It's going to
that
be
one was pretty easy.
If you're a Panthers
Yeah.
fan, you're grasping for any little straw that's going to make you feel better about your team.
Yeah.
Uh,
Grasp onto those cheap tickets, Panthers fans. You got it.
yeah, I also have a list from June 3rd, and they based it solely on odds to win the Super Bowl by Vegas. That gives them
Oh,
their
okay.
ranking.
Nice.
Um, if I'm reading this right, the Panthers are plus 2,500, which makes that what, 250 to 1? Something like that.
Wow. That's
Some insane
pretty
odd.
substantial. Yeah.
So $1 is like $250 if I'm reading that, or
That's
would it
crazy.
be 25? Either way,
Uh,
it's still really high odds. Like
yeah.
they're the worst odds to win the Super Bowl.
Hmm.
My list actually, well, I lose the plot after the third one down, but 31 for me is the Broncos.
Hey,
Again,
same here. Broncos
they don't have a
31.
quarterback. They
Yeah, they don't have a
don't know
quarterback at
who
all.
their quarterback's going to be.
Yeah,
They let go
they
of
didn't
Jerry Judy.
prove. Yeah, they didn't prove the stuff they needed to prove last season, and I don't think they made too many moves this offseason in order to propel them to any higher of a spot. So I have them firmly at 31 as well.
Their highest paid quarterback on their cap hit and their roster doesn't even play for them anymore.
Yeah.
So,
Hmm.
I mean, bright spot here, Bo Nix might actually be good.
I
They
mean,
drafted
I
his
doubt it.
teammate.
Yeah, I'm
They've
just gonna
got
throw
some
that out there.
connections.
Yeah,
I would like it's a coin flip. Like if he's terrible, it's not. Also, it'd be like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
yeah.
Um, the running back's good. They had like last year. He was probably the best rookie running back. Was it Williams before he got hurt? I forget his name.
I forget. Yeah,
Shows how much attention I pay to the Broncos.
true.
But again, they're sitting at uh, plus 10,000 to win the Super Bowl. So that just
Okay.
shows the big jump with
Yeah.
the Panthers being 25,000. 15,000
Hmm.
is the next closest one. But
Yeah,
the Broncos
exactly.
are at 10,000.
Nice.
Um, yeah. So
Yeah.
is 31 was the Broncos for you as well?
Yep. 31 was the Broncos for me as well.
Keeping it moving then to 30, we've got the Giants,
Hey,
who,
okay.
after losing Saquon, after being stuck with Danny Dimes, losing Darren Waller, their
Okay.
defense is good. They're gonna ride
Yeah,
that defense. This is
I agree.
one that Brian Daboll could come out and coach this team to
Hmm.
a wild card spot,
Yeah.
but I think everybody else has to step up. Like we can't. It's not the Saquon show anymore. It's now Devin Singletary's your running back, which means that you're really gonna have to rely on Malik Neighbors,
Yeah.
Darius Slayton, Sterling Shepard, like all these
Okay.
guys that. And then they drafted a tight end, I thought, because they thought they'd known that Darren Waller was thinking about retiring. So
Yeah.
eh, plus 15,000 to win the Super Bowl.
Okay.
Uh,
Not bad.
yeah. What was your
Number
30?
30. Yeah, number 30 for me is the Minnesota Vikings.
Wow.
Um, yeah, they dropped this far low just because they kind of sold the farm and they are through a complete rebuild right now. I have zero faith they are going to be even making playoffs.
Even though they paid Justin Jefferson, like they've kept the offense together. It's just
Yeah,
quarterback.
even though they paid Justin Jefferson.
So mind you, last year when we did our power rankings, Vikings were at 15, somewhere in
Hmm.
there. You're telling me that the Vikings dropped 15 spots because Kirk Cousins left. Kirk Cousins makes that team 15 spots better.
Yeah.
Okay. I fully disagree, but that's fine. Like
Hey, I mean
the
these are just odds to a team that can take a ring, you know.
yeah,
I think Vikings loses to a substantial amount of these other teams going into this next year.
Vikings odds are plus
I'm
6,600
saying Vikings lose to the Browns. I'm saying Vikings lose to the Saints. They lose to the Chargers, Giants.
to the Saints.
Yeah,
The Saints?
the Saints.
The
The Saints
Saints
that
whose
are
only
missing an
receiver,
identity.
the only
Yes.
receiver is Chris Olave.
Yeah, they lose to them.
Okay. I've Vikings are going to have more wins than the Saints. There's no way.
I mean, I'm saying in a Super Bowl scenario, you know.
I'm saying the Vikings get closer to the Super Bowl than the Saints ever will with Derek Carr.
I don't know, dude. I think Carr's better than anyone else on the Viking staff there,
I'm
dude.
taking Sam Darnold over Derek Carr.
Oh, I'm for sure taking Derek Carr over Sam Darnold.
Nah, nah. I'm taking Sam Darnold. You almost could twist my arm into taking JJ McCarthy. He looked awful last season. So Derek Carr looked awful.
I mean, yeah, he didn't look too hot, you know. I mean, like I said, an offense they still haven't found an identity with, you know. I don't even know if they have Alvin Kamara anymore.
They do. The only person they let go of is, why can I not? I can see his face. He never played a full season.
Michael,
Michael Thomas.
yeah, they let go of Michael
And I
Thomas.
don't. Michael Thomas signed somewhere recently.
I don't think so. I think he's
I
still
thought.
free, unsigned.
No, I thought he did. They got him on a
Did
really
he?
cheap deal. It was like a 1 year prove it deal.
Yeah,
Let's see.
I thought he was like the last one.
Oh, you're right. He hasn't signed yet.
Yeah, but there's a lot of
23.
speculation where he is going to go. You know?
Yeah. Did he re-sign? No. No, okay. No, he hasn't re-signed yet. First thing is the Steelers. Steelers came out and basically said, "Yeah, he's not for us."
Yeah.
Packers, Lions,
Hmm.
Patriots. I think he'd do best on the Patriots.
Yeah, I can see that. Maybe.
So,
Yeah,
but
hard to say. Yeah.
so you had Vikings at
Vikings 30.
30.
Yep.
Uh 30 for the list I have is for the Giants.
Nice.
29 is actually where I have the Saints because they
Oh,
have
okay.
no identity. I
Yeah.
don't think their defense is going to carry this team. I think Derek Carr is at this point in his career 20 to 25 in quarterback rankings.
Yeah.
And with no one around him besides Chris Olave to support him, I just
True.
don't see it. I like Alvin Kamara. I think Alvin Kamara is a great running back. I think Alvin Kamara, ooh, I almost want to say Hall of Famer because he's
Yeah.
just consistently had a good career on the
Hmm.
Saints. I just don't see it. I don't see the vision that they're seeing.
Hmm.
And yeah, I think that they are going to struggle and they're going to struggle mightily. So
Yeah.
they
I would
have the
agree. I would
same
agree.
odds. They actually have the same odds as the Vikings to win the Super Bowl this year. So,
Yeah. That
all
makes
right.
sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
What about you? What's your 29?
My number 29 is the Browns. I think you put Deshaun Watson in any sort of situation, it is going to crumble before your very eyes.
Well,
That's
that's why they got famous Jameis though, because he's going to play half the season because Brown's
yeah,
shoulder is
but
going to hurt, or Deshaun
if I'm
Watson's shoulder
going
is going to hurt.
based off their starters, I'm not going off of who's going to do best this season. I'm going off of like who wins the Super Bowl, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
And
fair.
yeah, Browns aren't there.
Where do I have the Browns? Do I have them super far different? Maybe I do. No, I don't have them very far. I also have
Yeah.
them before we get to 20. So,
Yep.
and then over here, 29 is
Uh,
the Patriots for that list at plus
wow.
12,500.
Wow.
I I don't know. I think Patriots were a hard one to place for me
Yeah.
because I agree on paper they don't have a lot of talent, but I think
Yeah.
this is the start of a rebuild and they have a lot of
Yeah,
rookies.
me too. Yeah, I think they have a pretty confident start because they have a lot bolstered for them, but it was just the formula that wasn't working for them these last few years, and now that new coach is in the system, I think that's going to do a lot for them.
Yeah. So I don't know. I was torn about where to put them. I could have probably put them here, but I do think that the Saints are going to have a worse time and have
Yeah.
less of a chance at the Super Bowl than the Patriots. So, okay.
Yep.
28 for me was the Titans.
Nice. Nice.
I don't I don't know if I see the vision. Tony
Hmm.
Pollard's a fine running back. Will Levis is an okay quarterback. DeAndre
Yeah.
Hopkins and Calvin Ridley are going to do fine. The team's old. That's
Yeah.
the hard
I
part
didn't
for
know
me.
D Hop's back on that team. Yeah.
I think their
Yeah.
youngest receiver is like their receiver average is 30 years old.
Yeah.
That's
Sheesh.
it's a hard sell to me to be this far down on the list with that old of a team. They should have
And
started
they
the
just
rebuild
lost.
this
They just
season.
lost their yard earner as well. I mean, we can't forget that.
Yeah.
Hines just
Well,
lost their biggest piece of property.
Trey
Uh,
Spears has been backing up Derrick Henry this last season, and I think this has always been the plan. Like
Yeah.
we're gonna run one more season with Derrick Henry, but it's gonna be Trey Spears. And then it just so happened that Tony Pollard fell into their lap because because Dallas was like, no, you're not our you're not our running back anymore. So
I guess we found out who's running back that was theirs. Gosh, it's
I
gonna end
still
in a
think it's
train wreck.
funny. I still
Yeah.
think it's funny that Zeke's cap hit from when they cut him is greater than his current salary
Yeah.
for Dallas. Like
It's
they
insane.
should have just kept him. Why even
Yeah.
send him off if you're
I
gonna
know.
just bring? Either way, 28 for me is the Titans. I
Nice.
don't I don't have a whole lot. I don't think they have a whole lot. They let go of a bunch of their defensive pieces. So,
Yep.
what about you?
I mirror you on these last two. Like, Saints is my 28, and we know why they're down far this low. They're just not really put together, you know.
Yeah,
And then after that, 27 for me is the Titans. You know,
yeah,
for all the same reasons. I mean, they're
right.
down here for a reason, you know.
28 for the list I have is the Commanders, and they're plus 15,000 to win the Super Bowl. Which
Wow,
is funny because that's my 27. I do
that's
not see
crazy.
division again. This
Yeah,
was how many people can we get for one last hurrah?
yeah, dude.
They're they signed a bunch of older pieces. Dan Quinn basically came in and looked around and said, "I know that guy's name. I 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 coached him. I liked how he played, and he just brought in a bunch of players that he
Yeah.
liked, which is
Hey,
fine. That might pay off. I
I bought into the hype. That's all I gotta say.
This is Dotson's time to prove that he's worth it because Curtis Samuel's gone.
Yep.
I do like Zach Ertz being a tight end for them. I don't know how great he's
Yeah,
going to be, but it's someone who is a veteran presence who is going to be a safety blanket for their rookie quarterback, whose
I
name I'm
like
spacing
Austin
on right now.
Eckler, you know, being able
Austin
to have a
Eckler,
dynamic kind of play in the midfield range.
yeah, Austin Eckler and they're running and Brian Robinson are going to split touches in the backfield, which I think is fine. I don't hate none of these signings are signings that I'm like, oh, that's an awful signing, but also none of them move the needle for me in
Huh.
a direction of like this makes the team better. It's like, oh yeah, okay, you brought in Zach Ertz. He's probably about what you had at a tight end already. Oh, okay,
Yeah,
you brought in Austin Eckler. He's about the same as what you were getting out of Brian Robinson. Like there wasn't any big off like signings. I think Earl Thomas. No, it's not Earl Thomas. Bobby Wagner. They signed Bobby Wagner back, I
okay.
believe, to their back. And it's again, it's like he was a like this team 5 years ago is a Madden team. Like this is a you put it together in a franchise mode and you're just winning by 60 points every time.
Exactly.
That's not the case anymore. So we'll see. They're not winning their division, so there's no way they're winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and you said your 27 was Titans.
Yep.
Their 27 is the Raiders at plus 8,000, which
Wow, okay.
I
I'm
don't know. They
surprised
have
Patriots and Raiders are down this low.
Patriots maybe. I mean, they're both pretty low. Like they went high on the Saints, and they went. Where's the other team I had down here that I went? They have the No, Broncos, Panthers, Giants. Yeah, meh. I don't know. I don't. I think the Raiders should have gotten a little bit more respect than 27. But that being said, they're also pretty low on my list. So why don't you give me
Sure.
your 26?
My 26 here is the Los Angeles Chargers.
Okay.
Um, I think it's just a team that is floundering, as it were. I don't think Harbaugh is going to bring in any presence. Um, you know, typically, most of the times, I would say college football coach to NFL football coach isn't the most seamless. I mean, sure, he has experience from his time with the 49ers. Um, but this is a completely different, team formula now, and giving him so much reign over the draft, I think is going to be a regrettable choice. So
Uh,
we'll see.
you know what the move here for the Chargers would be?
What's that?
Who was the last quarterback that went to the Super Bowl with Harbaugh?
Uh, wasn't wheel guy, fast guy, wasn't him, right?
Yeah, it was. This is
Was?
Kaepernick. Yeah,
Oh wow. There you go.
Kaepernick's still kicking around saying he wants to be in the league.
Kaepernick should be in the league.
Kaepernick should be in the league. Now you're not bringing him in to replace Justin Herbert, but you think he could catch a ball? Go the old Terrell Pryor route? Become a receiver?
No.
What? You
How
don't
old
think
is he?
that he's 32? He's the age of DeAndre Hopkins.
No way he's 32.
He's between
Is he?
32 and 35. He's not that old. Like when he tried to come back to the Raiders, he
Yeah.
was 30.
Oh, okay.
So
Huh.
he's on the older end for players now,
hmm
but he also hasn't been hit and banged up in the same way that players who are in the league at that age have been. I
True.
mean, what's the worst you're gonna do? You're trotting out Josh Palmer as your number one receiver. Like you're telling me
True.
Kyle Kaepernick can't make it into that receiver room?
True. He would be more of a tight end though.
Maybe, but
And
he's
he's
so
not
fast.
taking Josh Palmer's job, you know.
Yeah, but you line him up on the outside and you just send him straight. You don't need another route. Just run towards the end
You
zone and
don't
just
need
make sure to
another
look
rep.
back.
Nah, he's a one-trick pony, you know. He was a scramble QB before anyone could really catch him, you know.
Yeah, that's true. I will say, I think it would be funny though because I could see Harbaugh doing something like that. But
Yeah,
I think
and
you're
that's
right.
what
I
I'm
don't think.
saying is I think he would do something like that, but it is not the same league as it was back then right now, you know. Like
Hey,
there have been a lot of good QBs that can do that. Justin Fields, who's a backup QB right now, for example, you know.
yeah. I mean, you. There are so many receivers that could probably be coaxed out of retirement. I mean, Dallas got Martavis Bryant to come out of retirement, so I don't see why we
True.
couldn't get someone crazy. Antonio Brown's still around.
Yeah, yeah,
I would never. I would like that for sure is going to kill any PR. Like the PR
yeah,
team is like sees the Antonio Brown signing comes up and is just like, I'm resigning. I don't want to do this
yeah.
anymore. All of a sudden,
hmm Yeah,
uh, I don't know. I don't know the vision the Chargers are going to have, but it's definitely going to be. I mean, the only vision I can see is a lot of game time possession, and we're just going to
hmm
run, and we're going to
yeah.
run, and we're going to run.
That's it.
Like that's it.
Yeah. I mean, that's
So,
what they've said their messages as well, is like they need to be a run first team. And
right.
I can completely see that, and I do not see it paying out for them too well. I mean, we saw how hard they tanked last season. I don't think pushing the ball on the ground is going to free up Herbert enough to make up for the like inadequacies that were happening last season.
And even if you do free up Herbert, who's he going to throw the ball to?
Literally the air. That's it.
Yeah, like Josh Palmer's fine,
Yeah.
but he should
He's
have been
gonna
a
get
wide
his.
receiver three. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
he's and maybe they see something that we haven't. Like this is the team that's going to this. He needed that number one. He needed all those targets because then he's going to thrive and like flourish.
Yeah.
But I don't know. He got to be the number one receiver for a couple games last year, and none of it was like, oh my god, why is this guy not getting more playing time?
Yeah.
It was like, oh yeah, he
True.
fits. Like that's a good. Like
Yeah.
I would be happy if he's my third receiver, and then all of a sudden he got thrust into the number one for like a game or two. It's like, okay, we are okay.
Yeah.
So,
Completely agree.
uh, yeah, my
But this is
26.
their bet. Like, hold on, sorry.
Yeah.
At best, their best receiver is a waiver wire player. Let's just throw that one out there as well.
Unless that rookie they drafted comes in and does well.
Big if.
Big if. That's
hmm
the big if. Right now, yeah. Like looking at their roster right now with no knowledge on how that rookie's doing, absolutely. Like none of those guys are coming off the board.
True.
So, my 26 is the Raiders. As I
Oh
say that I feel
wow,
bad that they have. I don't
dude.
see the vision. I don't see what like it's another year to give Aiden O'Connell some experience.
I
You
mean,
basically took the best player off the board in the draft
true.
that was available. Your
hmm
defense is okay,
Yeah.
but if we're talking about did this team get better from last season to this season?
I'd say
No,
yeah. I would say
no.
yeah. They made massive improvements on the defensive line. They made defensive fixes for the safety. They have a backup for him now. Um, they're going to have a QB shootout. It's not going to be pretty, but it's going to be a shootout nonetheless. And like, let's be honest here, rookie QB, dripping wet fresh, right? got dropped into a terrible situation last season, and they came out with 8 game wins. You know, and that was halfway firing the coach mid-season with a coach that I think had 1 win throughout the entire season. So this is
I
a
will say,
team
like,
that only knows how to win when they have a slight bit of success coming their way.
I
That would be my only argument. I think
I
they
will give you the Christian Wilkins signing. That does make your team better.
yeah,
However, and the coach, like McDaniels was an awful choice. Like
yeah.
keeping Pierce, I think is going to give some consistency that the team needs. Perfect. I just don't see it. Like if we're talking about teams that needed to make like big improvements to make playoffs, I mean you're
hmm
not winning your division.
I
Uh,
think we snuff our division guy. I think they snuff the Chiefs.
Absolutely not. There's no way that you guys win the division by snuff. No.
Dude, the Chiefs are not good. Let's just throw that one out there first and foremost.
Mm, if the
Coach
Chiefs
is
are
the
not
best piece
good,
on the
then the
entire
Raiders are the
team.
worst team in the league. Like the difference between the Chiefs and the Raiders, like I I think
I
this is
mean,
the start of
look at their record, you know.
they have 2 Super Bowl wins. Back-to-back Super Bowl wins. Like we can't sit here and say that the Chiefs are
No, I'm
not
saying
good when
last 10 years, you know, Raiders versus Chiefs. It's 50-50.
right. But
It's a favorable matchup.
okay, but go back to when Mahomes came into the league. Like he's
Same years, yeah. 10 years ago.
Mahomes has not been in the league for 10 years.
No, but including the beginning of Mahomes, I'm saying.
Yeah, but the point is that Mahomes is there now, and the Raiders are in the second year of a rebuild that is apparently requiring them to let go of their best
They're at
players
the end
without
of a
trading
rebuild.
them. They are not
They're
at
at
the
the
end of
end.
a rebuild.
They are. They have to
They
rebuild
don't have a
next year.
quarterback.
They do not.
They
They
don't have
are
a running back.
refusing to rebuild right now.
They have one wide receiver. They have a
Yeah.
decent defense. This is
I'm
they're
saying that that's a terrible example of a rebuild if you're calling that a rebuild.
the moment they let Carr go, they started a rebuild.
That's true.
Like this is a very slow this isn't a
And
Texans rebuild where they
this is
play
the
like
end of the McDaniels road is this season.
right, but you can have a rebuild without immediately blowing everything up. Like the Texans rebuild where they blew everything up with draft picks. That's
Yeah.
that is an extreme. The Raiders are a very young team outside of Devonte Adams.
Yeah.
I would count this as a rebuild because of the fact that you were going, okay, we had a couple aging players, we didn't win, so we're not going to sign anybody
hmm
older. We're just going to kind of go with what we have and train up our
That's
young
true.
guys.
That's
I
true. That's the
I
first
don't
time we've really done that with the draft. I will say that. So
right.
props to the GM on that.
And not that I'm saying like putting the Raiders at 26 is not saying they are a awful team.
No, yeah.
This is a
Just
team
likely
that
yeah.
is probably 3. Okay, the window for next big playoff push for the Raiders is 2 years at the earliest, and that means that they hit on all their draft picks, and Brock Powers looks like he's the next Travis Kelce.
True.
To 4 years, which gives you time to decide if you're going to tank this year,
Yeah.
get a good draft pick, and then just continue to take best players available. Because 4 years, you can probably swing keeping Max Crosby around, even if you have to franchise tag him twice.
True.
Devonte Adams retires, but
Yep.
he's not improving the team anyways
No,
at
yeah.
this
I
point.
agree with the 4 year window for sure. Two
So,
years, that would be ambitious, you know.
but two
That's what I'm
years is
saying.
kind of
Like,
like what the Texans went through, where they went from David Mills to C.J. Stroud, and all of a sudden they went from
yeah. That's why I'm
yeah,
saying like they're at the end of the rebuild now. They're gonna have to go through it next year in order to make that 4 year window down the road. Because they do need to rebuild, but they're just like refusing to right now.
yeah. You guys should be reaching out to the Titans because I think
I
they have a
agree.
good young receiver. I think trying to think of where else you guys could probably poach some receivers from the Giants. The Giants seem to
Yeah,
hate all of their young receivers, and honestly,
true.
none of them are bad.
There you go.
You should get Tutu Atwell from the chart. Just let me be GM for the Raiders. I'll fix the team.
Dude,
Your receiver core is
anyone
going to
could be
be
GM.
your receiver core is going to be Devontae Adams, Tutu Atwell. Oh, who do I like from the Giants? Probably Slayton if I can get him, and then Brock
Nice.
Powers. Brock Bowers. I keep saying Powers. It's Brock Bowers.
True.
Is going to be your receiving core. Running back. I mean, if I was going back to the start of this off season, if I knew I was going to let Josh Jacobs go,
True. I mean, just free up cap space. Samir White's already on the team. He's decent, you know.
right? But
I've
at
been
that point,
telling you, he's good.
I think if the Raiders knowing that the that we were going to let Josh Jacobs go, they probably should have
Mhm.
brought in Austin Eckler because you got him for
Yeah,
you could have gotten him for a cheap deal. He
yeah,
lines up fine with White,
true.
like so. But that's my 26 is the Raiders.
Nice.
Yeah. What about you? Oh, you told me right. It was
Already,
Titans, right?
yeah, yep,
Yeah.
Chargers. Yep.
Chargers, right. 26 for the list is the Titans at plus 15,000.
Nice.
I I don't know. I don't see it. I don't see where the I think in reality, if we're looking at the futures of teams, it probably should go Panthers, Broncos, Titans.
Yeah,
Like I don't see their future in any
yeah,
way
I
that
could see
benefits
that.
them. But
But I see them still like in that stubborn place. Like I could see them tanking. But, yeah, it's just not pretty over in that
they're
in that back
they're
room.
gonna tank without meaning to.
Yeah,
Like this
exactly.
is the
That's
problem. They're
that's
paying so much money, they're gonna tank without meaning to, and it's gonna be like,
yeah,
well, do we suck?
yeah,
So, what's
yep.
your 25?
25. This is where I got our New York Giants lining up here.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay. I
for all the similar reasons we were bringing up earlier, you know, they're
yeah. I mean,
just generic, not good. You know?
now I will say, and I didn't think about this when I put the Giants on my list, is that it's a contract year for Danny Dimes, and for some reason in that last contract year, remember Daniel Jones
Yeah,
went to the playoffs. Like he
yeah,
took that team.
true.
I think you just got to keep them on 1 year deals. You just got to earn it
Yeah,
next year. Just keep
yeah, you
earning
earn it.
it.
Yeah,
Like
just keep on like a treadmill, you know?
um, on the opposite end of playing Moneyball, I have the Jags at 25. They are overpaying their offense.
Wow,
The Jags
that's
have been this far down for me every
crazy.
year because they overpay their team and they don't set themselves up for any success. They're
Okay,
overpaying
yeah, I could see
Christian
it.
Kirk.
Yeah,
They're
yeah,
overpaying Gabe Davis. They're
I
overpaying
agree.
Evan Ingram. I think the
Yeah,
only player that got the right contract is Trevor Lawrence because you don't have another option for a franchise quarterback right now. You're too
yeah,
far
true.
down the draft to get a pick.
Keep him while
But
you got him.
yeah,
The league's desperate right now.
right. Like even if he is a bum this year, he's better than
Yeah,
like half the options. So
true. True, true,
I
true.
don't I don't know. To me, and not paying Josh Allen on the defensive line, like franchise tagging him again, which basically
Yeah.
is setting yourself up to lose him next year. Horrible
Hmm.
move.
Yeah.
They're going to ride this defense. The receiving core is going to do just enough. Gabe Davis is
Yep.
going to do Gabe Davis things. He's going to have, I don't know, 10 catches for 1,000 yards this season. Like it's going to be, that's all it seems he does is just straight down the field. We're going to throw it from the 1 yard line. You're going to catch everybody off guard because you're slightly faster than everybody thinks you are, and it's a 100-yard touchdown. Like, I, I don't know. Saying that they're going to make the playoffs, though, feels like a stretch now. And saying that they're going to win the Super Bowl is even more of a stretch. I just don't see it.
I for sure see him making the playoffs, but yeah, maybe.
They've got to beat the Texans now.
That's true.
Because I last year they missed it because they had a horrible like game skid and the Texans got in.
Hmm.
But the entire league got better. And
Yeah.
as long as we don't have 16 starting quarterbacks have like almost season-ending injuries, I think the Jags are in a rough spot. They're going to have a rough awakening this year.
Yeah. I can see that.
So
Yeah, what's the
25 on
yeah.
this list is the Cardinals.
Oh,
Ooh, I have the Cardinals.
hey, the list is immune to recent news then.
Yeah, recency bias does not. Well, this list is June 3rd, so we're recording this on the 22nd, so it's been 2
Oh,
weeks
okay. Yeah.
since that list came
Oh,
out.
okay. Yeah.
So any new signings aren't being accounted for.
I see.
Um, but it was the closest thing. It was the most recent one I could find because no one's making them in the off season. They made their one,
Yeah.
and they're like, "All right, this is what we're going to see until preseason starts."
Okay.
I can see why they're here,
Yeah.
but I also think that they have more promise than most of these teams. Like they played
Yeah.
well last year with nothing, and
Mm-hmm.
they've gotten their starting quarterback back, and they got arguably the best receiver in the draft. Again, banking a lot on what ifs here.
Yeah.
So we'll see. What's
Sure.
your 24?
Number 24 over here on my list is the Indianapolis Colts. Like whenever I
Okay.
think of a team that I can never remember, you know, it's most
True.
likely this team, you know. Like this is the team that I completely count out, you know. So I've heard lots of talks about the QB or lots of talks about what they've done. There's lots of talks about the RB situation. I never seen success from them except with Peyton Manning. Okay, so say love to the Colts.
um, I yeah, I have them a little bit higher, but I fully agree. They
A
needed
team
to make
without a
some
wow
moves.
factor. Yeah.
Right. Well, no. Josh Richardson, Anthony Richardson, not
Anthony
Josh
Richardson,
Richardson,
yeah.
could be the wow factor if he can stay healthy, but
Could be,
we didn't
yeah.
see it, and that's
Hmm.
for me why he's also pretty low on my list. He's not that low, but he is pretty low.
Yeah.
Um, 24 for me is the Patriots.
Okay. Nice.
While they improved at quarterback, I like Jacoby Brissett. I like that they're
Yep.
making their rookie kind of earn his spots. I don't
Yep.
hate Bailey Zappi. They still haven't
Hmm.
improved their receiver core.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
they need to improve that. They've needed to
True.
improve that forever. Like maybe, and I think the only redeeming factor here is that Hunter Henry was a guy on the
He
Chargers,
was.
and
Yeah.
then he went out to New England, and his career died out there.
Yep.
I don't know what Bill Belichick hated about him,
Dude.
but I hope that they can scheme him a little bit better.
True. True, true, true.
I think that's the only
Gosh.
reason why he's not sitting at like 30, right? The Patriots are not sitting at 30 right now is because of
Hmm.
that and the
Yeah.
fact that they have a good defense, and that was a good defense last year with their best defensive player getting hurt. Christian
True.
Gonzalez got a season-ending injury in week 3, I think.
Yeah.
And it's it's just going to make a difference to have
True.
him back. So,
True.
that's my 24. You
Yeah, what's the list?
had
I
what
had Colts for 24.
Colts.
Yeah.
24 has the Saints.
Oh, okay. Makes
Fine.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's way higher than what I thought, you know.
it is. But again, what are we looking at? Where are the Saints? Saints to pretty much, I think, the Commanders to the Patriots. 24 to 29 on this list could all be interchangeable and are interchangeable if you look at our list. So
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
you
True.
could make that argument that it's all over the place. These are the teams that this right here, 32 to 20, are teams that
Hmm.
have the highest ability to fluctuate insanely over the
Yeah.
first couple weeks
Yep.
because it's a lot of I don't know. Except for
Yeah.
the 23 spot.
Injuries as
23
well.
spot is going to stay here near the bottom, and as they
Yeah.
should. It's the
Yeah.
Browns. It is the Browns.
Nice. Yeah, dude. They don't deserve
They
it.
even if Nick Chubb comes back and carries that team by himself, which
This
he has,
Terminator knee? Yeah, dude.
yeah,
There's no way.
it yeah, I
RIP
just
to the
don't.
strongest RB to ever do it. You know,
Well,
I
he's
give him
coming
all the
back.
props. He is coming back, but he's not coming back. You know,
Yeah,
he's
he's
never going
not
to be
going to
the
be
same.
he's not going to carry that team, but he's going to be a good
Yeah.
running back.
Yeah.
When you guaranteed all that money to Deshaun Watson, did you guys ever think that the scenario would be that he's just gonna milk it to
Tank.
where he's on the roster but not on the roster? Because guess
Um,
what? You're out what 255 million? Is it closer
oh
higher than that? Might even be higher than
gosh.
that. That you basically brought him in and handed him 255 million dollars and said, "Hey, whatever you do the next 5 years, that money's yours."
Oh man. Like, what contract was worse? The Broncos Russell Wilson trade or the Deshaun Watson trade
Oh, the
signing?
Deshaun Watson by far. By
I
far.
don't know. I don't know.
Um,
Both of those are historically terrible.
they're historically terrible, but you got to look at the season before. Russ at least played and didn't look bad. Do I think he
Yeah.
was worth that fat contract? No, but it's also Walmart money, so fuck him. Like,
Oh man.
but my point here is that Deshaun Watson was holding out. Like
Yeah.
he held out because he
Yeah.
didn't want to play. He wanted to get paid, and then before that, he didn't play, and then he was under investigation, and then he was hurt. Like we're talking,
Yeah.
this guy hadn't played in
I mean,
3 years.
I think the big thing that kind of curtails, like if we had this conversation before the investigation, I think this would have been a different conversation, you know? Like
But he still
sure,
hadn't
maybe for
played.
a season wasn't looking too right. Was a stud the year before. I mean, just completely went downhill after all the massages. Like, what were you thinking, Deshaun? You know?
I don't even. And you know what's even crazier is we probably don't even talk about this contract with the Browns had they not just guaranteed the full thing. Had they paid him
Yeah,
255 million and then only guaranteed like 60 of that, that's still an
yeah,
insane amount for someone who hasn't played in a couple years. But it's like, okay, well, then we can still justify bringing in another quarterback. No, they went, this is our guy. For the next 5 years, this is our guy. And guess what?
hmm Two thumbs
Congrats.
down. Yeah,
Yeah, congrats. You guys blew your chance to rebrand your mascot. Could have been
yeah.
the dog pound. Had the fans
Oh,
already. Went
could
with
have
an
been so
elf,
good.
right? It was an elf was your
Yeah,
mascot,
yeah. Or a
and
gnome? Was it a gnome or an elf?
it's an elf. I think it's an elf.
Okay, all right.
I can see his stupid little face. It's an elf. And
Uh,
you decided to pay someone with not one, not two, but 24 criminal investigations against him. $255
uh,
million to be the flagship of your offense. I don't think anybody you could sign after that for any other pieces of offense are going to make this team better. You
yeah.
had a great team last season that made the playoffs without Deshaun Watson, mind you.
Surprisingly, let's curtail that.
But but what I'm saying is the team can win without him, but
Hmm.
can't win with him. Like they weren't
Yep,
winning when he was on the field.
yep.
So
Completely
I don't
agree.
think bringing in Jerry Judy and signing like six other running backs just in case Nick Chubb can't come back week one is
Yeah,
going to fix the problem in that Deshaun Watson doesn't want to play football, but he's playing it because he wants the money.
100%.
Like he's the Nikola Jokic of the NFL without the skill of Nikola Jokic.
True.
So eh, I don't know. To me, I I almost could have agreed with where you had them at what was it? 27?
29.
29. I could
Yeah,
almost agree with that.
yeah.
But I think that the team's talent is too great
I think it
to
is
put
too.
them that low.
But
So,
I mean, it's just it's a tragic scenario.
right. But I see zero movement with this team in any kind of power rankings going forward.
Yep,
Like, unless they come out and just rip off 9 straight wins, they're forever going to be this low for me.
true. Speaking of tragic placements, number 23 here. I have the Seattle Seahawks at 23. I love them. I hate them, you know, but gosh, they just can't keep winning. They can't win. They don't have that win factor, you know? I mean,
Yeah.
sure, early on in the season they usually look better. Later on they look tired, disheveled even, you know. Team always gets injured, riddled with injuries. Very physical team, but they just can never get that W, you know. Maybe they need
Right.
Winston, who knows?
Yeah. Well, Geno Smith is going to do fine. This will be the first year without Pete Carroll as their coach. We'll
Yeah.
see if that's going to make a difference. I like Kenneth Walker. I like
Yeah,
their receivers that they've put around. I saw
same.
one the other day, just a little bit of a tangent here. It was you can make your receiver room, but you get like $15 or whatever.
Hmm.
They had the $1 category, Chris Olave and DK Metcalf were both in the $1 category. Are we looking like? Am I
I would
missing
agree with
something?
that.
Is DK Metcalf this bad?
I mean, dude, it's always, oh, the receiver core, the receiver core, the receiver core. That message has been like put forth for so many years now. You know, DK Metcalf was hot in what, 2017? You know?
Right, but
Like, come on. You can't be one because wait, how tall is DK Metcalf? He's like what, 6'1"?
no, he's taller than that.
Is he taller
There's no
than
way
that?
he's only 6'1". He was a big body receiver. That
He's
was
big body, but you know.
let's see. DK Metcalf is where is he? 6'4". That's what I thought. Okay,
Okay.
he's
That's
pretty
taller than
tall.
I thought. Yeah, taller than I thought. Still not jumping up higher than people that are 6'2". Dude's too big, you know.
Okay, and I
Idea
do.
is, sure, he's got speed. He's slowing down though. He's slowing down. He's their best receiver. Whole team's slowing down. I wish them the best, but they just ain't got it. They just ain't got that it factor.
Are they just the West Coast Titans, but we just have been ignoring it? Because they're all
Yes.
getting pretty old too. They brought in some young talent. Like I like Kenneth Walker. I like
Yeah.
Charbonnet, who's also a young running back. They
True. I
have
also love the Seahawks because Niners fans hate him. So, you know what? I'll give it to him.
yeah, yeah. 23 for this list over here. It's kind of wild. They have the Buccaneers
Okay.
at plus 8,000 to win. I thought
Yeah.
for sure it would be. I thought the Bucks would be higher. I have the Bucks higher
I have the
because
Bucks higher
again,
too.
they made the
But
playoffs and they haven't changed anything.
exactly, they haven't changed anything.
But if it's not broke, don't
Every
fix
other
it.
team got a lot better this offseason.
That's true. That is true. So I guess I could see why they're here. I just feel like that there are other teams that could be this low on the list.
Yeah.
But so 22 for me is the Chargers, kind of like for what you're talking about. Their
Nice.
offense is going to be ground and pound, and that's it.
Yep. That's it.
Justin, who he's in a contract year. That's great. He's
True.
throwing the ball 5 times a game.
Say
I
that again.
I, I don't care.
Sheesh.
Whoever you want back there is throwing the ball 5 times.
Yep.
We're gonna run our running backs into the ground.
Oh gosh.
J.K. Dobbins, if his ankle holds
Hmm.
up, is going to be our guy. If not,
Yep.
I just forgot the other guy's name that they got from Gus Edwards. Gus Edwards going to be it. Good luck.
True.
So we'll line up. We'll even tell you. It's I formation. We're running it right up the center. You're not stopping it.
Yeah,
This is
exactly.
what we invested in. So
Gosh.
what's your 22?
My 22 here, coming in from New York, not who you might think it is. I have the Buffalo Bills here at 22. I think a
Okay.
team that is completely going through a rebuild right now, a team that has been resistant to prove themselves for so many years. I don't think they should be put any higher than in the low 20s here. You know?
I have them. I have them close. I
Yeah.
I messed up and put the Saints twice on my list, but I knew where I meant the Bills.
Yeah. Yep.
Eh, I don't. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe we're all missing something, and this team's really good. Dalton Kincaid's going to be the number one receiver on the team. Most targets, de
Oh yeah,
facto number one, without fail.
for sure. Yeah.
Uh, uh, they hit
And it's
that
Dalton
salary cap.
Kincaid. That's the thing.
Yeah,
You
they hit
know?
the salary cap hard. They had to cut a lot of people. I
As
I'm
they should.
guessing. I'm guessing that when they
They
looked at
put so much stock into what, 3 years ago?
right,
They have to pay it now. You know, like that's the
right, and
thing.
that's what I think that's what they were looking at is like when they made these moves
Hmm.
they sat down and they had a meeting that's like in 3 years it's going to look really bad, but we'll have two Super Bowls by then, so it's okay. Like
Exactly.
we will be
Where are
okay
they
with
now?
that.
Yep.
And they are zero Super Bowls, and they're still going to be in this spot. So,
Yep.
yeah,
Completely
I don't
agree.
see it. Maybe they
Yep.
make some mid-season moves right before the trade deadline.
Yeah.
Yeah, 22 over here on the list is the Vikings. Sure,
Okay. Interesting.
I
Yeah.
mean, that's my 21, so I guess I can
Yeah.
move in and just talk about it.
Nice.
I'm concerned about the drop off that they had with their quarterback, and that's solely why. I
Yeah.
don't I do think Kirk Cousins, just because we know he's consistent, moves them six
Hmm.
spots up to put them back at 15. I don't think it justified dropping them to 15 whole spots like you did. It really just depends. Like if
Yeah.
JJ McCarthy cannot beat Sam Darnold for the starting job, this is going to be a rough season for the
Yeah.
Vikings.
Yeah.
So, and then we'll be back again with another mid-round pick to draft another quarterback.
True.
So, or they sign
Gosh.
someone.
That's what
Maybe
I'm saying, dude. Like they are going to purposefully tank this next season.
I mean, or what if the Steelers really like Russ? We can go out and maybe make a little trade here, get Justin Fields out in some
That would be
purple.
crazy. That would be crazy.
Justin Fields
I
make that
don't.
team better.
They would have to trade both those QBs. There ain't no way.
Nah, you just cut Sam Darnold. No one want like if my choice is between hey, you can keep two, and you've got
No,
Sam Darnold, JJ
Steelers.
McCarthy.
Steelers would have to trade away Fields and Wilson for Justin Jefferson.
There's no way that the Vikings are making that move. I am not taking on two contracts for one position to give up
Yeah, true.
Justin Jefferson. If I hadn't paid Justin Jefferson, sure,
Yeah,
maybe
true.
that's an expiring contract. You can pay him whatever you want. The Steelers are notoriously stingy when it comes to offensive players.
Yeah.
So, what's your 21?
21 over here, back in New York, bringing it with the Jets.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the Jets. I mean, they're going to stay kind of in this middle range here. The defense is stellar. That's about it. You know. Aaron Rodgers talking a big game, not showing up to training camp. Who knows? Kind of a big question mark on the team right now. Kind of excited to see what happens, but it's kind of predictable. I think they're in 21 here.
Yeah, I have them in the same spot. They
Yeah.
have they have the best cornerback in the league. They have one of the
Yep.
best receivers in the league. They have a good running back in the league. On all
Yep.
things pointing, they should be way higher than this. Yet it's
Yeah,
the
they
Jets, and
yeah,
they somehow
true.
manage to blow this every year.
This is true.
I do think Tyrod Taylor is an upgrade over any of the quarterbacks you had in rotation at
True.
backing up Aaron Rodgers last year. So that's a good start in the right
True.
direction.
But
I
our guy Zach Wilson?
I would take Tyrod Taylor over Zach Wilson. In fact, if Tyrod Taylor did not have a notoriously bad streak of luck to get put on teams that draft the franchise QB the year after he signs,
True.
I don't know. Maybe he has a better. He and Jacoby Brissett have kicked around the league for quite a while as
I
like, yeah,
know.
these are starting caliber quarterbacks. I don't know how they keep getting backup roles, and then they end up on
I know.
teams where it's like Jacoby Brissett is quarterback for the Colts, and they bring in Andrew Luck, and it's like, all right, yeah, I can see why they took.
You know what? Shout out to Mayfield for avoiding that fate, you know?
Mayfield avoided that because he did it to Tyrod Taylor, and then he was like, "Oh, I can just take the starting role
Yeah.
from people now. I'm never going to a team where this is going to happen to me." Like,
True. True.
so I, yeah, 20. What are we at? 21.
21 on the
21
list. Yeah.
over there is the Chargers. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Wow.
Um,
That's kind of high, you know, in my opinion.
I agree. I mean, I had them at 22, so it's not too high for me.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, I can just jump to my 20 because I
Yeah.
also had the Jets here, and we just talked about
Nice.
them. So we
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
move to year 20.
Yeah. My 20 over here. Faith and Mayo, dude. Bringing it with the Patriots. I think it's going to be kind of exciting to see what happens with them.
Yeah, yeah.
Piques my interest. This is like kind of the range. It's like, okay, now we're kind of like talking about teams. We're kind of spicing up. They might have a chance. They probably don't, but you know, I'm excited to see where it leads.
I don't hate that. I have them, I know, at 23. No, 24.
Hmm.
I could have argued to put them higher because
Hmm.
they upgraded at quarterback.
Yep.
They just paid Ramondre Stevenson, so they locked in their running back.
God tier upgrade it, coach. Come on.
I, I don't. I don't know if it's a god tier upgrade. I do think that Bill Belichick had fallen behind the time. Like his offensive
Oh yeah.
style had fallen behind. But when you look at the last couple teams that had won big, like had big playoff pushes and stuff like that, their defensive coordinators were still that same kind of like old breed that were like, no, we're not going to hide our stands. We're not going to hide all this stuff. We're going to line up exactly how we are, and
Mm,
you're going to have to figure out how to beat us.
true.
But I part of me wants to see the Patriots be successful, but the other part of me wants to see Patriots fans suffer. You got Tom
Same.
Brady, you had a dynasty, suffer.
Mm,
Like you're in
true.
my division, you're
I
gonna
mean,
suffer.
I think we've had enough years of a sucky team to where like the bandwagon has officially sailed. The bandwagon's no longer there. I don't
Yeah, but it'll
think.
come back. It'll come back if they start to win. Everybody will be like, "Yeah, I was a fan."
I mean, true, true. But everyone that knows about football will be able to call them out. That's what I'm
True.
saying. It's like, okay, we know who they are now. They'll be able to fish them out more
That's true.
easily.
So, all right. Uh, 20 over here is the Seahawks.
Nice.
I apparently have way more faith in Seattle than you guys do. So,
Yeah, dude.
uh,
I mean, I love them, but
that's
yeah.
fair. Like I think that they have a couple more years of being consistently good
Okay.
before things fully fall apart. And even then, when we
Okay.
thought things were going to fully fall apart, Pete Carroll reaches into his hat and goes, "Look, Geno
Hey,
Smith's a starter again."
I didn't think they would fall apart. That was just me though.
Well, but I thought they would. The moment they traded Russ away, I was like, okay, this is the rebuild. This is like the Seattle's waved the flag, and they're like, all right, we're done with our franchise QB.
Yeah.
We're gonna rebuild. And all of a sudden, Geno Smith comes out and
I
goes,
think
"Hey guys,
I
I
think
think I
that's
will."
this year, honestly. I think,
I think if Geno Smith falls short,
mhm,
and I can't remember if they just re-signed him or if he's in the second year of like a 3-year deal. Either
okay.
way, he will finish out that contract and he might get another short one. But this
Mhm.
is the last time that we see Geno. This is the last season that we see Geno Smith be a starter for a Seattle team that is looking to win it all.
Yeah.
If he is a continued starter at that point on, it's kind of just like, all right, we have a rookie, but we don't know how we feel about him. Or
Mhm.
we did too well last season. We didn't get the pick we wanted, so we're going to come back and we're going to try for a better pick this year.
Okay.
So, yeah,
Nice. Nice. Yep.
my 19, hang on, is the Colts. And I
Nice.
put them at 19 strictly for Anthony Richardson. Has nothing
Okay.
to really do with Jonathan Taylor, who I think is a fine running back. Has nothing to do with their defense. That's fine.
Yep. Mhm.
They just locked in their number one receiver. It's not Paris Campbell. Who's the other
Yeah.
guy's name?
I mean, yeah,
Uh,
chalk up the Colts to I hope they surprise me. I mean,
well, and the wild card factor is Anthony Richardson because when he played,
yeah,
he like
killed it.
ran in two
Yeah.
touchdowns, was slinging the ball. Like
Mhm.
he was how RG3 was in his rookie year. He looked
Okay.
really good. He had the speed, he had the vision. He
Mhm.
just needs to get better at not taking unnecessary contact
I see.
because
Do you think that's just the line's fault? Or
no,
do you
it's
think it's
hit
like
like
a
he's
Josh
he's
Allen lackadaisical, I'm gonna sling this, I'm gonna run this, I'm the guy
it's
type
almost
thing?
like the Josh Allen and the Cam Newton where they seek out the contact. Instead of getting down,
Okay.
they're like, I can make 3 more yards, but I'm gonna
Yeah.
have to get hit.
Yep.
And
Why
I mean
don't
last
NFL teams learn not to build their team around QBs like this and to hold on to them for about 3 years and then sell them while they're high?
I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. Well, it's because they draft them and they're like, oh yeah, we're just gonna break even though it's like 20 years
Yeah.
of this habit existing.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't remember who their backup was last year.
Mhm.
Oh, it was Minshew. Never mind. Never mind. It
Yeah.
was Minshew. He did fine. The team did fine with Minshew at it. And as much as I hate this, Joe Flacco is a better backup quarterback than Gardner Minshew was. And
I
I
think
think,
we can all agree with that.
did you hear the enthusiasm in my voice when I let that one out?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Which means that if Anthony Richardson gets hurt, the team's still going to be in okay hands. Even
Yeah.
if even if Joe Flacco can't do what Joe Flacco used to do, he still has a better understanding of the game and the experience to be able to play within his abilities and make that team better.
True.
I also would really like the Colts to lock in on a number one tight end because I'm tired of playing fantasy and trying to guess which tight end is going to get all the looks today.
Oh,
Is it
gosh.
Mo Alley Cox? No?
True.
Oh,
Nope.
man. All right. I'm going to let him go. Oh, it was Mo Alley Cox this week, though. Great.
Oh,
I don't have
yeah.
him anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Too good.
So, what's your 19?
My number 19 over here, given the team of some breadcrumbs, giving it to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers,
Okay.
like you said, it's a good team, but they didn't make too many upgrades. I'm hoping the best for him, I think they're going to do better than the Colts, but who knows?
Yeah, I think Mike Evans is going to have another 1,000-yard season. I
I
think
think Mike Evans is going to pay it back with this rather favorable contract he just got this last season.
Yeah, and
You
I
know,
think Baker Mayfield's gonna.
take
I
advantage. I hope.
don't understand.
You know.
I mean, I don't understand. I understand at the time the Browns with their rose-colored glasses were like, the grass is greener on the other side. Baker
Yeah.
Mayfield is not a bad quarterback.
Yeah.
I think all he's done is continue to grow and mature in the league. He
I
probably
agree.
would have and every team that he's been on since the Browns either had a starter already that was coming back. So we're looking at the Rams where he goes and he wins out. I don't care who you are, Matthew Stafford is not coming back to be a backup. So they had to make a choice and they went with Matthew Stafford, which is fine. Like, he had just come off a Super Bowl win for him. I would too.
True.
And then he goes to Carolina, where he justifiably beats Sam Darnold for the starting job. But
Yep.
Carolina kind of sucked.
True.
And
They had CMC though.
no, when he went there, they
Didn't
did
he?
not.
No.
I don't remember if he signed right from the start, but that was the year CMC was traded halfway through because the Panthers were like, we're going to sell the farm. Like, we're not
Yeah.
going to pay CMC, so we might as well trade him away.
True.
And
Immune from a good decision.
But I also, as Baker Mayfield, think he made the right decision when they were bouncing back and forth between him and Sam Darnold, and he's like, "No, I want to be the starter. Like, I am the better quarterback. I want it." And they're like, "No, you got to earn it every."
Mm-hmm.
Justifiably so, he left, and then he goes to the Bucs and he does fine. Like, he is a serviceable starter who I think just because of one situation where a team decided to make it go for greener pastures will forever have a career as a backup. Similar to that of Jacoby Brissett, Tyrod Taylor, and Teddy Bridgewater. Three serviceable starting quarterbacks. And even like a Ryan Fitzmagic. Like, starting serviceable quarterbacks.
Is Teddy Bridgewater a serviceable starter?
I think so. Well, not near the end here. When he retired as the Lions and stuff like that, he really wasn't. But like right after he left Minnesota, yeah, he was a starter. I think he couldn't run as much anymore.
Yeah.
But he was same way that I think Baker Mayfield. There's going to be a time where Baker Mayfield fully becomes like a journeyman backup, but I don't think that right now that's the case. I think if the Bucs lose next year, they're going to draft a quarterback. But right now, Baker Mayfield's I would put him in the same category of like Geno Smith. Like, he's fine. Like, he's a good starter. He can manage an offense. He can get the ball moving. He can hype up a team.
Dare I say, Derek Carr-esque. Yeah, buddy.
Prime
all
Derek,
the same echelon.
Prime Derek Carr,
right now.
Current Derek Carr now? No.
Even right now.
No. Baker Mayfield beats out Derek Carr for a starting job on the Saints. There's no way.
Probably just because of the records.
Well, the records alone goes to
teams. I think if they swap teams, it would be the same team.
If they swap teams, Saints make the playoffs.
Nah. Yeah. Swap teams, I think they stay the same.
The biggest difference for me is
I think you're just ageist. That's what I think.
No, I'm not ageist. It's how they act on it's how they act on the field. Derek Carr does not hype up his team like Baker Mayfield does. Baker Mayfield gets laid out on a run where he gets the first down and stands up and tells the defender to hit the weight room. Derek
Yeah,
Carr just
true.
stands up and celebrate. Like that
Yeah.
is the energy that you need from a quarterback if he's not necessarily like an Aaron Rodgers and a Tom Brady. You need everybody else to get hype and be pumped because that guy is going to like build the energy of the room. Carr does not do that for me, especially when you look at
Okay.
like interviews.
Okay.
Like he has been awful and some like what happened out there. I don't know.
Like,
We
well, I don't
just
know.
did
We
what
got to
we're
work
saying.
on it. Yeah.
We got to work on it. Coach
Yeah.
decided that maybe Jameis was the better option here, and I respect his.
Yeah.
No, that's
I
the
feel like
wrong.
his interviews are thoughtful, They're well thought out. They're well measured. He's a more intelligent player. Come on, let's be
Right.
frank.
And that's not.
Let's be freaking frank.
But his skills have dropped off to the point that even with intelligence, the play doesn't back it up. Like that is, if you have someone that is really intelligent, give them a clipboard, let them coach up someone else.
Yeah, true.
And I think that's where Carr should be at this point.
I would
So
agree. I would agree.
yeah. So that's our
That's not to
19.
say that the league isn't desperate enough for Derek
Oh
Carr.
no, he'll stay around till he's ready to retire. Like let's be
Yeah,
clear, till he's
exactly.
ready to go, he's got a
Yeah,
job. Because
yeah,
well, and that's because he was a starter and he did almost have an MVP season. Like
yeah.
all it's that those couple years where he was one of the best quarterbacks in the league will forever let him have a job until he decides not to. It's
True,
the same way that Joe Flacco is still in the league. He had the
true.
MVP. He's got the Super Bowl. Until he's done, ready to be quarterback, there's not a team anywhere that's going to be like, oh, we could get the experience of Joe Flacco to come teach our young guys. Absolutely. Like, we'll pay him a couple million.
I don't know. There might be an argument to let Flacco walk.
He's 39 years old,
Gosh,
and they
dude, is he
still
gonna
haven't
beat
let him
Brady?
walk.
I know.
Like, that's my thing. Like,
I hope
I
he beats
agree.
Brady. I
But there's
hope he
always
does.
one team. He doesn't beat Brady. I would argue that there's quarterbacks that are in the league that are going to be older than Brady, sure, but none of them get the same level. Like Brady was a starter until he retired,
True.
so
Could be a starter right now.
he could be. There are teams. There are plenty of teams in the league that would be like Tom Brady. Absolutely.
Plenty. Plenty of teams.
Raiders, Seattle, Niners.
Not on Raiders.
Oh, if Brady came back and said I want to play for the Raiders, absolutely they are benching AOC.
Nope, not happening.
You can say it's not had. If Brady came out tomorrow and was like, "I will come back to the league, but I'm only coming back as a Raider," Raider sign him.
AP wouldn't let it happen.
AP wouldn't get that choice.
Yeah, you're right.
Davis would come in and be like,
Davis
"He's
would come
starting."
in. Yeah, Davis would put him in. It wouldn't be the
Uh,
GM. It wouldn't be the head coach. It wouldn't be the entire staff. It wouldn't be the entire team.
it would be the
It
owner.
would be the owner coming in, trying to throw his weight around.
Yep, that's how he starts for the Raiders. But he starts for the Niners. Told Brock Purdy if they could have gotten Tom Brady last year, he would have been benched. So it's
Dude,
definitely
he
Tom.
should start for the Niners.
He starts for the Niners, starts for Seattle, he beats Stafford out for the starting job.
Yeah.
He starts for the
RIP.
Patriots if he decided to go back.
True. Starts
Starts
with
for
the
the
Titans.
Giants, starts for the Titans.
Yeah.
Dare I say he starts for the Jets?
Dare I say he starts for the Bills?
That one's tough.
That
That's a
one's
tough
crazy.
tell.
That one's a little
That's a
crazy.
wild one. I could see
I
him beating
think
out
so.
Aaron Rodgers because Aaron Rodgers would throw a hissy fit and then be like, "I'm not going to
Yeah,
play," and they'd just be like, "Fine, we got Tom Brady. Who cares?"
true.
Um, he definitely starts for Miami.
I don't think he
He
starts from Miami.
I think so, especially when we're talking about this is a contract year for Tua. Do we want to pay him? They might just quietly not let him start and put Tom Brady in just so they could pay him
That's just
less.
like committing team suicide, though.
It is.
It's like there's no
It fully
point.
is. Uh,
It's like keep what you
starts for the
got.
Bucks.
It's not that bad.
He definitely starts for the Bucks. Um, I don't know where
Does he
else.
start for the Bucks?
Yeah, yeah, he would have kept starting for the Bucks if he
Yeah,
stayed.
true. True.
So that was my 19. That was your 19.
Yeah.
You want to just roll the 15 this week and do the last 15 next week
Yeah,
because we're
yeah.
already an hour in.
Sounds good.
All right. So 18 for me is the Bills for the
Oh,
same reason that
okay.
you talked about when you had them at what, 20? 21?
I have them at 22.
Yeah. They don't
Yeah.
have an identity.
They're not good.
No.
Period.
I don't think they'll be bad. They're going to be right in the middle of the pack, but they're not winning their division. They're not, I think, stealing a wild card this season.
Yep.
I don't know. This is, I think this is the end of Josh Allen's time with the Bills. When his
Yeah.
contract comes up, he probably is like, maybe I'll go try else. Be even
True.
crazier if they traded him for picks and just fully went into the tank. But
Yeah, that would be
yeah,
wild.
so
Yeah.
who's your 18?
My 18, making me look like this team's better, the next best thing since sliced bread. Well, we got ourselves the Arizona Cardinals here, folks. You know,
I went way too high on the Cardinals. I'm looking at the list now.
yeah, I mean, I think the Cardinals, I mean, they're not bad. You know, they've always been a decent team, and I think they made some solid moves in this offseason. That's my argument. Okay. I see them being a contender for wild card here, just kind of like in this, kind of lower echelon here. With the addition of Michael Penix Jr., of course. I think they're going to bring Pops in for some tips and tricks and whatnot. So I think that's bringing talent to the team, in my opinion.
Oh, sorry, Marvin Harrison. You said Michael Penix. I
Oh,
was like trying to
whoops.
figure out who you were talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wrong team. Yeah. Um, yeah, I see nothing but success, good things for the Cardinals here.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I think I mean, they hit rock bottom last season.
They
The
hit
only way
rock
to go
bottom.
from
Yeah,
here
I
is
think.
up.
Yeah, the only way they're only going up. So who knows how high up? That's what I'm
And what's
saying.
even crazier is they hit rock bottom and still weren't the worst team in the league. Like
I
that is
know.
so. The list over here, I forgot we missed 19 on the list. 19 was the Jaguars.
Oh,
Um,
nice. Yeah.
18 is the Colts.
Okay. Okay.
Fair.
Yeah. Fair.
Uh,
I like those.
so now we're on to 17.
Yep. What's
Yeah.
your 17?
My 17, and I am looking at the full season and not at the recency bias for this team because they had a
Oh,
really good push at the end. I had the
okay.
Packers at 17.
Wow. Okay.
I think their division
Wow.
got better. I think minus the Vikings, who are at a question mark quarterback, the division got better. The team is good. I think the addition of Josh Jacobs is going to benefit that team. I
Hmm.
think Jordan Love can only continue to improve. I like their receiver core. I
Yep.
think just last season though, it's hard. Like it was very hard for me to figure out where to put the Packers because there were so many injured quarterbacks last season that the fact that Jordan Love stayed healthy the entire season
Yep.
meant that they already had an advantage over half of the league.
Most teams. Yeah. True.
Yeah. So I again, it's 17 right now, but they very much could jump up to top 10 if they come in
Yeah.
strong and continue how they did last season. It's just
True.
I don't know. I need to see I guess a little bit more. But I mean, all things considered, this is the youngest team in the NFL, and the fact that they're 17th means that this is a long time that we're going to be seeing them around.
True. 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 True.
So, what's your 17?
My number 17, following up, is the Bengals. I got the Bengals here at number 17.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. This was a team that was electric the last few years. So nothing but success, had a lot going their way. And when one simple domino fell last season, the entire team was in shambles. This was a team that saw pretty much no difference these last few years, but one piece was able to topple them all. So I have them down here fighting for wild card position, just for that simple reason. And that's now a QB that is now known to is injury prone, in my opinion.
Yeah, and they lost one of their receivers. Like,
Yeah.
I agree. I have them way higher just because that one piece does make such a huge difference, and that one
Hmm.
piece is coming back.
Yeah.
So I think Joe
Hmm.
Burrow impacts that enough to make a change.
Okay.
17 on the list over here is the Steelers. And I think
Hey,
that is
wow, that's kind of selling them a little bit low.
I think we're selling them short for the fact that they upgraded at quarterback and backup quarterback. to
Yeah.
something that this team hasn't seen since what, 2019, right before the
Uh,
Ben Roethlisberger fall off.
Before Ben Roethlisberger, forget about it. These QBs are better than I would say the prime of Ben Roethlisberger.
Not the prime, not the
I
prime,
would,
but
I'd say the prime.
probably as soon as he started to come out of his prime, these
Yeah,
are better quarterbacks.
yeah.
I just, I, I agree that the end of his career was pretty bad, but we got to put some respect on the beefy behemoth himself.
Did he ever get MVP?
I don't remember if he ever got MVP. He did get a Super Bowl, which is better than quite a few quarterbacks. He's just his scrambling out of sacks is where I put a lot of respect. Like this man,
Well, dude, guy's built like the tar monster. You just grab a hold of him, you just slide off. I mean, there's no way.
right? So I just I
He got second chance throws. He never got a scramble for, you know,
he and Russ hit
15,
their
20
prime.
yards.
He and Russ hit their prime around the same time, and
Yeah,
Roethlisberger was better than Russ. So
I would
I
humbly disagree.
uh I do think it's low. I think we're selling this really short because we're putting this is where the Steelers were kind of last year, and that's
Yeah,
with oh my goodness, I can't remember his name right now. If
that's
he's
with
back up on the Eagles,
drowning. Yeah,
who's their
Penix,
quarterback?
no, Pickens.
No,
Yeah,
Kenny Pickett.
yeah,
Kenny
Pickett.
Pickett
That's
and
it.
Mason Rudolph were the two quarterbacks, and they're both not on that team anymore. So,
Hmm.
uh, sure,
Yeah,
sure. I guess I disagree. I have them high. They broke my top 10 actually.
nice,
Um, 16 for me is the Buccaneers.
nice,
They haven't changed anything, so I could see them making the playoffs again. But again, last season was kind of a wild season for teams as a whole.
nice.
So it could also be the exact same opposite, where they are now sitting in this power ranking the entire season. I think Mike
Okay.
Evans is going to do well. I think Baker Mayfield is going to continue to thrive in that offense.
Hmm.
I think Chris Godwin is a fine number 2 receiver.
Yeah,
I don't. There's nothing really to like poke at as being bad. I just don't know if the pieces they have are good enough to carry them to the promised land.
true,
So,
true, true, true.
what's your 16?
My number 16. What a beautiful way to curtail our power rankings here. I got my Las Vegas Raiders here, snug at number 16. I see them confidently beating every team listed before here, and I'll tell you why. They have an X factor about them this upcoming season that a lot of people are going to be sleeping on, especially our Las Vegas listing here. I think they're just trying to kind of sell them low that way. They line their pockets here in Las Vegas this upcoming season. Uh, that would be my argument here. That I see them fighting for wild card and potentially making it. Who knows?
Okay. I mean, I I don't disagree. The Raiders are a team that could be all over the place because of the fact that they've changed so much this offseason. So, we'll see.
Yeah, buddy.
16 for the list is the Rams.
Wow. Okay,
I don't
that's pretty
know.
low,
But again,
but not too
they're okay.
surprising.
I think what it
Yeah, they're
really
okay.
is if
Yeah.
they didn't have Matthew Stafford and they had a different quarterback, like a younger quarterback, they'd probably be higher. But
Hmm.
I Matthew Stafford is starting to he's going to play his way till he can no longer start, then he's going to retire. The fact that he came
Yeah.
out this season and was like, I want more money is wild to me.
Yeah, that
Because
is kind of crazy.
he hasn't proven that he's worth it, but he knows that his career is coming to a and he's like, how
Yeah,
much money can I get right now?
true. Fair.
So
I'll give it to him.
yeah. So well, that kind of wraps up this part of the list.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask this for as a teaser for next week. Do the
Oh.
Falcons, because you're a Kirk Cousins hype man, do they break the top 10 for you?
Do they break the top 10 for me?
Yeah,
They do break the top 10.
that's what I thought. That's what I thought. It hadn't come up yet, and
They
I was like,
do break
man,
top 10.
this man's got a top 10 for sure.
Yeah, buddy. Oh, that's too good.
uh, and I mean, we can do a hot take if you want, but not a lot has changed. Do you want to just
Yeah.
kind of?
I guess my hot take, just reviewing on this list here. Uh, I mean, Chargers, what's going on here? I mean, I see the speech, I don't see the movement. I see the promises, I don't see the outcome, I I don't really see too much coming out of the Chargers up to us this upcoming season, and I think game one for the Raiders here this is going to be a good start to the season. That's all I got to say.
Nice. Yeah. All right. All right. My hot take here. Oh man. I don't even know if this is this hot. I mean, it's a hot take. Never mind. That's a lie. I was going to say I don't know if I even think this is that hot of a take. I think the
Mhm.
Patriots steal the second wild card spot this season.
Whoa! Okay, that's out there. Yeah, that's out there.
I
Going
think
from second worst to wild card. That's a
well,
big, big jump.
because Mac Jones was awful. Like let's
Yeah,
just
Mac
call it
Jones
what it
was
is. Mac
awful.
Jones was awful. Jacoby Brissett's an upgrade. Uh, oh my goodness, I can see his face. I forgot who they got.
Drake.
Drake May is an
Yeah.
upgrade.
Uh-huh.
Whoever is their starter, the only thing it doesn't become as hot a take if they trade for a decent receiver right before the deadline.
I completely agree with you. I think having the talks with that Saints receiver that still hasn't been signed, I think would be a fantastic addition. But I think they did sign a receiver in this offseason.
I think they did two. I don't remember which one. I think if they sign Michael
Yeah.
Thomas, it actually kills their career, their season.
You think it kills their season?
Yep, he has yet to play a full season for a team.
Yeah.
I,
I mean that's not to say he's like untalented or something.
I agree, but the fact that he's not available is the hard part for me. Like you could
Yeah.
be the best receiver
Yeah.
in the league, but if I'm losing you for half the season, it doesn't because
Has
I'm not
Renfro
winning
been
enough.
signed?
His
That'd be a good slot
Renfro has not
receiver.
been signed, and that one
Yeah.
also kind of surprised me because he
Yeah.
wasn't a bad slot receiver,
Yeah.
and there are plenty
He's
of
like
teams
middle of
that
the
have
road. Yeah.
questionable receiving rooms.
Oh yeah. I mean, look at the Bills. Boom. Make it comparable. And I
Yeah,
think Patriots do better.
true. Let's see. I just looked it up. Free
And
agent
we
tracker for
don't
the.
think Brady could replace Josh Allen?
I don't think Brady
That's what I'm
could.
saying.
I don't think he could. Oh, they did sign KJ Osborne, who is the third
Oh,
receiver from the Vikings. He came out
yeah.
when
He was
Addison was
good.
their number one. He wasn't
Yeah.
bad. I think
Hmm.
he does make that receiver core better. He's going to be
Hmm.
their number two,
Okay.
maybe three. I don't remember who their number two receiver is, but number one is. It's going to. Sorry. Um, it's going to be Juju, Devontae Parker, and then KJ Osborne.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah, dude. They got Juju. Yeah.
I
I
forget
forgot
about
about that. Yeah.
what it really is if Mayo can turn Juju around to back
Hmm.
to where he was with the Steelers,
Yeah.
or if they can get someone. Okay, I can flip this around to what you're talking about with Michael Thomas making them better because
Good backup.
no, because he's the number one, and when Juju
Oh.
Smith-Schuster is not the number one receiver is when he does the best because he bullies smaller number
Oh.
two cornerbacks. When
Yeah,
he was on the
dude.
Steelers, it was Antonio Brown, and then Juju was the number two option. That was his best season. Then
You go.
Juju was the number one. He started to struggle. They brought Chase
Hmm.
Claypool in, and then Juju did okay because he wasn't the only receiver. Then
Pat Fryermuth popping off then, too.
He goes to Kansas City, and he's the
Hmm.
number one again, and is the worst receiver in existence. And then he goes off to the Patriots as number one
Classic.
receiver.
Yeah.
Awful. So
Awful.
they
Yeah.
also got Austin Hooper and Antonio Gibson coming out of the backfield.
Oh, yeah.
I don't. Antonio Gibson doesn't move a whole lot. Kendrick Bourne resigned.
Okay.
I, the KJ Osborne signing does make this team a little bit better. Does it make it enough to steal the wild card spot? No. If they get Michael Thomas, I could see them stealing the second wild card just because then that opens up the opportunity for Juju Smith-Schuster, and then you just kind of push Devontae Parker to the side and say like, "Hey, you're the number four."
Yep.
So okay,
True.
I'm saying like okay, like I'm agreeing with my own hot take. I made the hot take. Yes. Patriots are going to steal the second wild card spot, which means
Yeah,
again for the
that's
third year in a
crazy.
row or something like that, the AFC East has two teams make it, which is pretty impressive considering.
Yeah.
So might even be three. Jets take the other wild card spot because the Finns are winning it all.
Ooh.
Ooh,
Okay.
no. If Aaron Rodgers can stay healthy, they need to get rid of the turf. But
Yeah.
so
Yeah. Get rid of that turf, Jets.
yeah. So all right, everybody, you got to tune in next week to hear our top 15.
Oh yeah, we already got a little teaser on my
Top
list here.
15, top 10 is wild. But that being said, I have Finn's top 5. So we're
Hey, what the? That's crazier.
it's not. It is not.
Yes, it
But
is.
they could have won it all last season had they just not fallen
Ah,
apart.
yeah,
Uh,
true.
so, all right, we will catch you all next time.
All right.
Okay.
Later.
Later.